Welcome back. Eighth grade sampler, PSSA sub, how about that? Yawn, are you sleep deprived? That's the nonfiction article that's going to center this PSSA workout. All right. And I say workout because we about to work it out. We about to get into it. Let's do it then. All right. Slide two, please. Some norms to be observed right now. And if you could grab this purple dog and put that purple dog on top of the word norms, all right? Because norms means what's normal, what's normative, what's expected. So please follow along with each slide. Those without a computer should sketch or doodle and or mimic in the paragraph, packet, or question what's happening on the screen. In other words, if your packet looks blank when you're donezo funzo, I'm not giving you full credit for it. All right, those are those of you without computers. All right, those of you with computers, you're about to go to slide three. So some suggestions for viewing. This is for the substitute. Turn it up loud enough so everyone can hear. Sometimes we have individuals who are a little hard of hearing, and I say that as an old man. Number two, pause the video when prompted, as there may be an opportunity to discuss or clarify the directions and or expectations. Apologies for misspelling expectations there. I ought to know better. All right. So quick, it says training student. If you could put the green cat over here by training student, I know it's blurry, so just trust me. It says training student, and this is what your screen will look like with much more clarity once we roll around the PSSAs. So I just wanted to get your eyes used to it, to what you'll be clicking on, right? So drag that cat down to continue, and let's continue to slide five. All right. If you don't have a computer, you'll be taking notes and completing your packet. Right now, you're just watching the screen at the front of the room closely. So let's go ahead and put our name on this slide. All right. So I'm going to do my name with purple. All right. My first name, Mr., and then surface. Right? You sign your own name, pretty please. This is the English language arts. I know it says grade five, but that's the only working sample that they're showing teachers right now. So Mr. Surface is going to show you kind of what it's like to get into the PSSAs right now. Everybody to slide seven now that you've written your name. Norms to be observed right now. The substitute has been asked to contact me, Mr. Surface, in the event a student refuses to follow directions. They'll just give me, send an email. This particular student is refusing to do X, Y, or Z. All right. And then I'll go ahead and contact their people, try to get them into the building as soon as possible, hopefully within the next hour. So please make sure that you are your best self every day. And right now, please, slide eight. If you could put my red fish in the least dirty fish bowl down here, right? I'll get to cleaning the other one soon. All right. This is the do not photograph or, we'll fine you $30,000 type thing. Slide nine. The substitute has been asked to contact me in the event that someone refuses to follow directions. For real, substitute, just let Mr. Surface know and we'll take care of business. Please put the purple dog by directions. Slide 10. Test directions. Read these directions carefully, beginning the assessment tool. To look at the directions again, select the Help button and choose the Test Directions tab. Could you please put the sad button, put the sad button down by begin the test? Slide 11. Norms to be observed right now. This 100-point grade will be due by the end of the period. Not tonight, right? Not in when, not tomorrow morning. It's due now. It's due during this period. All right. You need to finish it by the end of this period. Let's say that's a 135. If it's 135, it's got to be done by 135. Don't worry about it after 136. You've got to hustle to the end today. All right. Failure to fully attempt to complete the work by class's end will result in a zero. And that's it. That'll be all she wrote on that zero. All right. Can you please put that purple dog over there by the zero, please? Ooh, look at that cute little dog. Slide 12. So I want to quickly familiarize you with the tools that you'll be using when it comes to the CDT, but you can also use them for the PSSAs. The first, when drag this red triangle, is the pointer. Use that pointer to indicate which answer you think is correct, what you want to do on the page, to navigate, etc. right? The information in the article prepares you for both the PSSA, right? But it's also going to help you to live a more present, fulfilling life. So there is a larger purpose to what we're doing simply besides the state test. Slide 14. Grab that green hashtag and you bring it over here to the drop down menu. You see the question one, and what it goes with each paragraph. That helps you negotiate the entire article because sometimes it's a little hard to negotiate it all and navigate it all. This helps you to do that dropout. Can you put that green hashtag by 7, 8, and 9? Slide 15. These were chosen to help you to feel and to be as confident as possible for the big state test. I want you going in there and put that purple dog on top of con for confident. I want you going in there fully confident. Next, if you drag this green compass over here to this X icon up here, that helps you to narrow down answers that you know are clearly wrong, right? So A, B, and C, forget them. Focus. Bring that purple dog to focus, please. Next tool, put the race car, if you could, on top of this little highlighter here next to the X's. That helps you to highlight stuff as you read. It helps you to highlight stuff in the question so that you can break it down just like you would on paper. Slide 19. Focus. Can you bring that purple dog to the focus again, please? Drag that purple dog to the focus. Good work. Slide 10. If you want to make some notes, right? You just click on the little sticky note thing and it'll pop it up there to the side. You can say, come back to this later, check between B and C later, something like that. All right, could you put that yellow square on top of that icon up there? Excellent. Slide 21. Please focus. Focus right now. Get your head up off your desk if it happens to be there. Sit up. Posture equals attention. Do it up. And then finally, my favorite one is the one that goes from line to line, right? So let's say you are someone like me whose eyes tend to wander. I like to have a little line going underneath what I'm reading. You probably got used to, and if you could please highlight this card and do everything that Mr. Surface does on your screen, please. Highlight this whole card yellow. Highlight that whole card yellow because that's what we usually use as a card as a way to guide through. Excellent. Please make your screen look like Mr. Surface's. Excellent work. Let's focus. Let's keep it focused. Let's keep it moving. Focus, focus. All right. So the essential question is, what is the author's purpose for writing this article? What you see on the right is a word cloud. So the bigger the word, the more often it's repeated. So what are some of those big words? I'd like you to highlight 5 right now while the music plays. If you need more time than what I give you with the music, the sub or you can pause the video. Excellent. If you didn't highlight the ones I did, I would say that's a good idea. Switch it over to orange now. What is the author's purpose for writing this article? So far, we've got reading, sleep, deprivation, problems, get, and Mindell. I assume that means as in get, sleep. Now, if you could take a moment and highlight one orange word now that's a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller. Take the time to do that now. Excellent. Ooh, that song goes hard. Question 25. The name of the article is Yawn. Are you sleep deprived? Authors write to either entertain, persuade, or inform their reader. What was the author's purpose for writing Yawn? Are you sleep deprived? Use the text to answer or to support your answer. So you've got to drag these 2 red dots. You can put them by the prompt for now, but please get these 2 red dots and drag them, please, to the most important 2 words in the prompt. Please do so now. Excellent. Nice work. So we're about to get into it. Things like sleep, school, bed, teens, hours, right? All of these things are absolutely how old researchers. All these things are going to come up in the article. So keep your eyes peeled for them as we go. Read the text using this link or your packet if you're computerless. I'd like you to take approximately 10 minutes to read this article. Those of you with a computer, I would like you to, we're going to read it twice as a class. The first time through, you're just going to be clicking this link and we're going to be listening to it together as a class. So let's open it up. It'll take you to neshaminy.org. Oh boy. All right, and here we are. Yawn, are you sleep deprived? Read the following passage about getting enough sleep. Then answer questions 34 through 40 in your answer booklet. We don't have all 34 through 40 in the slides, right? But those of you without the computer, and you'll be doing all the questions. Those of you with the computer will be doing them as well, but that's only after the video. All right, so please make sure that you complete your work for Yawn. Are you sleep deprived? Time to wake up for school. Bethany's dad calls at 6:45. This is by Kathy Ann M. Kowalski. Okay, Bethany responds softly. Then she rolls over to catch a few extra winks. When the alarm blares at 7 o'clock, Bethany can't put it off any longer. Yawning, she shuts off the alarm and crawls out of bed. Everybody, please repeat after me. Heading. Drowsy nation. What's it mostly about? A heading tells you what it is mostly about, what the next section will be mostly about. So, drowsy nation is what these next 1, 2, 3 paragraphs will be about. If you need an alarm clock to wake up in the morning, you're probably sleep deprived too. In fact, most teens don't get enough sleep, says the National Sleep Foundation. On average, American teens get 2 hours less than the average 9.2 hours of sleep they need each night for optimal functioning. Teens are not alone. The National Sleep Foundation says that 63% of adults get less than their recommended 8 hours of sleep. Nearly 1/3 sleep less than 7 hours on weeknights. Most people in society view sleepiness and sleep deprivation as a minor annoyance, notes Mark Mahowald at the Minnesota Regional Sleep Disorder Center. You never brag about how much sleep you got. You only brag if you didn't get very much. Sadly, sleep deprivation causes serious problems. So, let's get to our next heading. All right? Repeat after me. Heading. Food, clothing, shelter, and sleep. What it's mostly about. This section will be mostly about food, clothing, shelter, and sleep. Sleep is a basic biological need, just like food and drink, says Jody Mendel at St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia, PA. Woo woo, go Hawks. All right, amazingly enough, you can go much longer without food and drink than you can go without sleep. Why does your body need sleep? We don't know the answer to that, says Mendel, but we do know that almost every species sleeps. We also know what happens to our bodies if we do not sleep. So we kind of look at it in a backward way. Grumpiness and irritability from sleep deprivation cause behavior problems at home and school. Lack of sleep also makes people more likely to feel down or depressed. The less you sleep, the more likely you are to have difficulty in school, notes Amy Wolfson at the College of the Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts. You can't learn math if you sleep during class. Even if you're quote unquote awake, sleepiness impairs concentration. We know that much learning and remembering occurs while you're asleep, adds Mendel. Researchers don't understand how, but the brain seems to process memories during sleep. Thus, students who get a good night's sleep typically do better on tests than students who stayed up all night studying. Behind the wheel, sleep deprivation can be deadly. Fall asleep car crashes probably kill more young Americans under the age of 25 than alcohol related crashes, observes Mahowald. And even if a tired driver doesn't nod off, impaired concentration and coordination make accidents more likely. Please repeat after me. Heading. More consequences. Yawn. What it's mostly about. So, this next section is mostly about more consequences. Yawn. So, more consequences most likely of not having enough sleep. Not sleeping is bad for your health. Your immune functioning gets depressed, says Mendel. So you're more likely to get colds and flus. The body secretes hormones during sleep, including growth hormone. Some studies suggest that a hormone imbalance in sleep deprived people could accompany abnormal weight gain. Emotional regulation suffers too. Sleep affects how well you can regulate your moods, explains Mendel. Suppose someone says something mean. With sufficient sleep, you'd probably brush it off. But if you're sleepy, you can't regulate your emotions, says Mendel. You're going to burst out in tears, even if it's an embarrassing situation. No one needs extra emotional upheaval, especially teens. Please repeat after me, everybody. Heading. Why aren't we sleeping? What the section's about? What the section's about? Sleep disorders keep some people from sleeping. Insomnia, for example, is difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep no matter what time someone goes to bed. Sometimes insomnia relates to negative associations with going to bed. Other times, inability to sleep signals depression, anxiety disorder, or other psychological problems. More often, poor sleep hygiene is to blame. That's not whether you take a bath before bedtime, rather, it's your set of sleep wake habits. Mm. Most people probably don't get enough sleep because they try to cram more than 24 hours into each day. School starts early in most cities. Extracurricular activities last until early evening. Then there's dinner, chores, and homework. Even on weekends, morning activities get students up early. Every which way the kids turn, something conspires to reduce their total sleep time, complains Mahowald. And what teen wants to skip telephone calls, TV, and computer time? To make matters worse, teens just aren't ready to fall asleep as early as when they were younger. When you get to bed late and wake up early, there just aren't enough hours for sleep. Repeat after me. Heading. Get some sleep. What the section's about. So, what can you do about your sleep debt? The good news is that you only have to make up about a third of what you lost, says Mahowald, to function and feel better. Thus, sleeping an extra 2 hours on Saturday or Sunday can help tremendously. Sleeping until noon, however, can cause other problems, warns Wolfson. Instead, aim for a regular sleep, regular wake schedule. To make the most of your sleep time, practice good sleep wake habits. Remember, sleep is not negotiable. Get your Z's. Oh my gosh. So that was about 10 minutes. Let's go to slide 28. If you're computerless, by the way, please make a similar, if not copies of, the notes from the slides into your packet. Your paragraphs will look very similar by design, by your pencil, right? Today. So put that dog down by, let's say, opinion and reasons. All right. So before we jump into this one, I'd like you to make sure that you're on slide 29. Those of you, we are reading this article a second time, but this time we're going to be highlighting some of the stuff along the way. So it might be useful to look at some of the questions now before we go back over it. All right. So some of those questions that we saw are the main purpose of the first paragraph of each passage is to, right? So we're going to be thinking about main idea. And it looks like question 36 is asking us about main idea too. We're also going to be taking a look at what was the writer's intent to persuade, entertain, or inform. All right, that is going to be one of the larger questions, and you'll see that writing prompt on each page of this one, right? I'll show you. See, it's right up here, right? What was the author's purpose for writing Yawn, Are You Sleep Deprived, right? And it could be either to inform, persuade, or entertain. Switch your highlighter over to mustard yellow, and let's get into it. Yawn. Are you sleep deprived? Circle that word deprived for me, please. Good circling. Slide 30. Time to wake up for school. Bethany's dad calls at 6:45 a.m. Okay, Bethany responds softly. Then she rolls over to catch a few extra winks. When the alarm blares at 7 o'clock, Bethany can't put it off any longer. Yawning, she shuts off the alarm and crawls out of bed. All right. For me, I want to put some question marks around this paragraph. Why do we start with this little story, I wonder? Please take a moment to make your slide look like mine. Now, if it were paper, right, then you might have like a little gray question mark, right, like this. Drowsy Nation. Switch it over to text, please. And if right next to this, could you please write header? All right. And the definition of that is tells the reader what the section will be about. All right. Could you please take a moment to put that note here next to that Drowsy Nation? Yas. If you need an alarm clock to wake up in the morning, you're probably sleep deprived too. In fact, most teens don't get enough sleep, says the National Sleep Foundation. In fact, let's get the highlighter here. Make the first part yellow. In fact, most teens don't get enough sleep. And then they give you an expert. Let's put the expert in blue, says the National Sleep Foundation. On average, the American teen gets 2 hours less than the average 9.2. So 2 hours less, 9.2 of sleep they need each night for optimal functioning. Take a moment, make your screen look like Mr. Surface's. Yas. Slide 32. Teens are not alone. The National Sleep Foundation says that 63% of adults get less than their recommended 8 hours of sleep. Nearly one-third sleep less than 7 hours on weeknights. Let's get those numbers highlighted in purple. All right, 63% of adults get less than their recommended 8 hours of sleep. Nearly one-third sleep less than 7 hours on weeknights. Most people in society view sleepiness and sleep deprivation as a minor annoyance, notes Mark Mahold at the Minnesota Regional Sleep Disorder Center. You never brag about how much sleep you got. You only brag if you didn't get very much. Sadly, sleep deprivation causes serious problems. I love this here because it's a nice little transition. It's a good example of one. Here's what the next paragraph will be about, says this sentence. Please label this one transition. Oh, maybe we'll put the letters in black so we can see them. Transition. Please take a moment to make your screen look like Mr. Surface's. Excellent. Oh, here's another heading. Sleep is a basic biological need, just like food and drink, says Jody Mindell at St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia, PA. What? Amazingly enough, you can go much longer without food and drink than you can go without sleep. That is, I didn't know that. That is amazing. Make sure you underline that sentence, please. It's on slide 33 or in your packet. Why does your body need sleep? We don't know the answer to that, says Mendel, but we do know that almost every species sleeps, and we also know what happens to our bodies if we do not sleep. So we kind of look at it in a backward way. Grumpiness and irritability from sleep deprivation cause behavior problems at home and school. Lack of sleep also makes people more likely to feel down or depressed. That just seems important for our life. Alexa, stop. Woo! The less you sleep on slide 35, the more likely you are to have difficulty in school. No kidding. Notes Amy Wolfson at the College of the Holy Cross of Worcester, Massachusetts, or Worcester. You can't learn math if you sleep during class, even if you're awake, in quotes. Why they do that, I wonder. Sleepiness impairs concentration. Put a green question mark next to that one. Oh, I thought I put a green question mark. There we go. We know that much learning and remembering occurs while you sleep, adds Mindell. Researchers don't understand how, but the brain seems to process memories during sleep. Thus, students who get a good night's sleep typically do better on tests than students who stayed up all night studying. Oh, no kidding. Behind the wheel, sleep deprivation can be deadly. Fall asleep car crashes probably kill more young Americans under the age of 25 than alcohol related crashes, observes Mahowold. And even if a tired driver doesn't nod off, impaired concentration and coordination make accidents more likely. I always try to underline the numbers, right? So, ooh, and maybe the ratio. Slide 37. More consequences. Yawn. Please label this a heading, and it tells you what the next section will be mostly about. There we are. Ba-doop. So, not sleeping is bad, okay, for your health. Your immune functioning gets depressed, says Mendel, so you're more likely to get colds and flus. The body also secretes hormones during sleep, including growth hormone. I should probably say including a growth hormone or including growth hormones, plural, right? I doubt it's one single hormone that goes into your body. So I'm going to highlight this one and I'm going to think to myself, oh, geez, who's making these mistakes? The state. Some studies suggest that a hormone imbalance in sleep deprived people can accompany abnormal weight gain. Slide 38. Emotional regulation suffers too. You know the word emotional. Regulate. What does it mean to regulate, I wonder? Putting a question mark there. Sleep affects how well you can regulate your moods, explains Mindell. Suppose someone says something mean. With sufficient sleep, you'd probably brush it off. But if you're sleepy, you can't regulate your emotions, says Mindell. You're going to burst out in tears even if it's an embarrassing situation. No one needs extra emotional upheaval, especially teens. Facts, 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 facts. Thanks for underlining that 7 times. Slide 38. Please make sure that your paragraphs look like Mr. Surface. He's going to quickly scroll through what we have so far while the music plays. Just make sure that yours look like his. Yeah. Ooh. So, why aren't we sleeping? Repeat after me. Heading. Sections about why aren't we sleeping? Sleep orders keep some people from sleeping. Yes, they do. Topic sentence. TS. Insomnia, for example, is difficulty sleeping, falling asleep, or staying asleep no matter what time someone goes to bed. By the way, this move that they did there where they put it in italics like that, highlight that green for me, that's showing you that it's like probably coming from another source, that they don't name the source here, right? Insomnia, for example, is difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep no matter what time someone goes to bed. Sometimes insomnia relates to negative associations with going to bed. Other times, inability to sleep signals depression, anxiety disorder, or other psychological problems. Said, uh-oh. More often, poor sleep hygiene is to blame. That's not whether you take a bath before bedtime, rather, it's your set of sleep wake habits. Most people probably just don't get enough sleep because they try to cram more than 24 hours into each day. School starts early in most cities. Like our school, extracurricular activities last until early evening. Then there's dinner, chores, and homework. I wonder what chores we have to do at home this evening. Even on weekends, morning activities get students up early. I'm thinking sports on that. Slide 41. Every which way the kids turn, something conspires to reduce their total sleep time, complains Mahawold. And what teen wants to skip telephone calls, TV, and computer time? Oh, we love our computer time. We love our TV time. We love our telephone call time. Ring, ring, hello. To make matters worse, teens just aren't ready to fall asleep as early as when they were younger. When you go to bed late and wake up early, there just aren't enough hours for sleep. I think I'll switch it to a different green. Slide 42. Get some sleep. All right, we'll put this in purple. All right, this is a heading. Tells you what this next section will be mostly about. Get some sleep. So, what can you do about your sleep debt? The good news is that you only have to make up about a third of what you lost, says Mahowald, to function and feel better. Thus, sleeping an extra 2 hours on Saturday or Sunday can help tremendously. Ooh, make sure you tell your parents that. Otherwise, I'll wake you up early for chores. Sleeping until noon, however, can cause other problems, warns Wolfson. Instead, aim for a regular sleep wake schedule. To make the most of your sleep time, practice good sleep and wake habits. And remember, sleep is not negotiable. Get your Z's. So, now what we're looking at are some of the questions that go along or accompany this article. Over here is the word cloud to remind you of some of the bigger ideas in it. And then here's some suggestions for multiple choice rules. Read the question twice, put a box around important terms, and think about what it's asking. All right. Put an X, question mark, or check mark next to each option. Reread the question, find text evidence, and reflect the answer or select the answer that makes the most sense. The main purpose of the first paragraph of the passage is to introduce two major characters. Well, they're already drawn because guess what? It's not fiction. To summarize the main idea of the passage, to interest readers by describing a familiar scene, or let readers know how to avoid weight gain. Well, the beginning didn't have anything to do with weight gain. Did it summarize? How can you summarize in the beginning? Right? So the main purpose of that first paragraph in the passage, the one about her waking up and struggling, is to interest readers, right? You might be able to persuade them a little bit better. So let's go ahead. We can put a little check mark next to C. Please make your screen look like Mr. Surface's and your question 34 look like Mr. Surface's. Oh, such a good song. Now, skip over to question 40. Let's break this one down together too. Which statement from the passage best describes the main idea? More often, poor sleep hygiene is to blame. B. Sleep disorders keep some people from sleeping. C. Sadly, sleep deprivation causes serious problems. Or D. Behind the wheel, sleep deprivations can be deadly. Right? So the main idea is what something is mostly about. So I should put a box around that. Right? What passage best describes the main idea, what it's mostly about overall? Well, it's not about driving safety overall. So I can cross out D. Right? Sadly, sleep deprivation causes serious problems. I'm not so sure about that one. So I'm going to put a question mark. Sleep disorders keep some people from sleeping. That's true, but they only dedicate like one paragraph to it. So I know it's not B. And more often, poor sleep hygiene is to blame. While it's about the need for sleep more often than it seems to be about poor sleep hygiene. So it looks to me like, thank God we put the question mark next to C because that ended up being the correct answer. All right, let's break this down a little bit, how we might write our TDA about this. Okay, let's take a look, see, let's take a peek real quick. The red dots should be placed on the prompt like we did earlier. The purple dots should be placed on the text, right? The text evidence we're going to use to prove our point. And then the orange dot should be placed on a visual. There'll be a matching visual to go with the question. Let's take a moment and get into it. All right, so first things first, let's put our two red dots by the word prompt. All right, and let's take a moment, and I'm going to read the prompt out loud, and then we'll take a moment to move our red dots to the two most important words. All right? That's the music you'll hear. So, authors write to either entertain, persuade, or inform their reader. What was the author's purpose for writing, Yawn, are you sleep deprived? Use the text to support your answer. Well, right here, we got the word author. And right here, we've got the word persuade. That's what I'm going to go for. Which two are you going to go for? Please decide. Yes. Now, we need to find out if there's anything in this passage up here. If there's anything in this passage that we can use to prove our point. So let's go ahead. It says, get some sleep. We're going to use our purple dots. Please put the purple dots up here by the heading. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So what can you do if you're running a sleep deficit? The good news is that you only have to make up about a third of what you've lost to function and feel better, says Mahawald. Those extra 2 hours of sleep on Saturday and Sunday mornings can really help, but sleeping until noon on the weekend can cause problems. You'll likely be wide-eyed until late those nights. Instead, try maintaining a reasonable, regular sleeping and waking schedule. And remember, sleep is not negotiable. Get those Z's. Which of those seems to be trying to persuade you to sleep, right? Because if we're going to say that the author's purpose is to persuade, is there any point where they're trying to convince us to do something? All right, let's take a moment and move our purple dots to part of the passage that'll help us answer the prompt. Please take the time to do that now. All right. Now, hopefully you've chosen two good parts. There's one last piece, and that is, which of these three pictures do you feel helps to answer the prompt the most? Is it this girl asleep here on her desk? Is it this dude looking at his clock like, oh no? And is it this kid during the day with his low battery? All right, you choose which of those three you think fits best to help answer that prompt. If you're computerless, by the way, please make similar, if not copies of the notes from the slides into your packet. All right, so your packet should definitely look like the slides. We've been through them all now, so hopefully your paragraphs are looking very, very similar to what people have on their computer, minus the color. Slide 49, 7 times 7. Authors write to either entertain, persuade, or inform. So we've got to choose which of these three purposes are going to go with this article. What was the author's purpose for writing, Yawn, are you sleep deprived? Well, I see the big words like sleep, get, teens, hours, bed, can. I see smaller words like school, need, later, right, every, many, and sleeping, and even smaller words like, and I'll switch over to yellow for this, morning, problems, devices, foundations, depressed, asleep. All right, take a moment to make your screen look like Mr. Surface's. Oh, what a great song. Slide 50. Norms be observed right now. Focus up. Focus now. Sit up. Posture. Do it up. You'll be glad you did. Slide 51. So the prompt is authors write to entertain, persuade, or inform their reader. What was the author's purpose for writing Yawn, are you sleep deprived? And use the text to support your answer. Well, we've got the author's purpose for writing Yawn, are you sleep deprived? Was to persuade the reader to get more sleep. Do they answer that prompt? Well, let's switch over to orange. And I see author's purpose up here. I'm going to highlight that. And I see author's purpose in the topic sentence. Huge. If your topic sentence looks like the prompt, you know that you are fulfilling your promise to depend on the text and answer it properly. Was to persuade the reader to get more sleep. Much of the article details the importance of sleep. The author quotes experts from universities like St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia. Well, here's author's purpose up here. I'll put a little orange blocks around that. But then I'm going to switch over to blue and put a little box around St. Joe's. And I'm going to get St. Joe's over here, right? Right on City Line. Finally, the article discusses how teens are especially impacted by sleep, lack of sleep. And then here's a quote. Let's highlight the whole quote with green. Put a little block around this guy sleeping here. That must be a teen. The good news is that you only have to make up about a third of what you have lost to function and feel better, says Mahowald. This information shows that getting more sleep might take less change than the reader might imagine. Oh, I love these this noun verbs. This noun verb. This information shows. If the quote were not from Mahowald, who works at the Minnesota Regional Sleep Disorder Center, then the advice would probably have been unhelpful. This important attention, here's another this noun verb, to expertise is a way to persuade the reader that the advice in the article should be followed. And notice how persuade goes right with our top big sentence and goes right with the prompt. What a beautiful thing. Please take a moment to make your screen look like Mr. Surface's. Hey, swimming underwater, getting some Z's, aquatic ambience, in the sea. Ooh, beautiful. Slide 52 is just kind of a breakdown, right? Your thesis is your answer, and then you have 3 pieces of evidence, right? The last paragraph gave us the idea that it was trying to convince us to get more sleep. So there'll be one whole paragraph about getting more sleep, right? Maybe there'll be another paragraph that's about, teens getting enough sleep, right? And then maybe there's one about the dangers of sleep deprivation, right? All of these help to persuade the reader to sleep more. And the thesis, ends up often looking just like your conclusion. Please take a moment to make your screen look like Mr. Surface's. Beautiful. So here's the prompt. Here's the matching word cloud. It's also on this next slide too. All right, you'll be writing your answer here. Doesn't need to be 5 paragraphs today, no. But I'd like you to give as much time as you can to answering this on slide 54 as you can. You've done a great job following along, I'm sure. All right, please email Mr. Service if you have any questions. But now it's time to really, it's time to grind. All right, it's time to get in there and write a little bit. So go get them, everybody. Go get them, and nice job. See y'all soon.